So much has unfolded over the last 7 weeks, and Brian Enton has been there for every single moment and development. And tonight he is joining us again from Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming, where Gabby's body was found. Brian, you walked through all of the places that we have been talking about until now, and tonight you're back there and you're going to take us all back.
Yeah, Marty, you know, this all ended here in Grand Teton National Park, where we are right now, tragically ended. But there were so many little steps along the way, and we traveled the exact route that Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie went, ending here in Grand Teton, but before this, Jackson, Wyoming, Salt Lake City, and where it all began in Moab, Utah. Moab, Utah, surrounded by beautiful red rock, blue skies, and crisp, clean air. It is gorgeous and peaceful. But Moab is the place we first saw that Brian and Gabby's relationship was not what was portrayed in their social media videos.
What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
I'm Brian. Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm just crying. We've just been fighting this morning.
This is the Moonflower Co-op. You remember outside this store is where the altercation happened between Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. A 911 caller called in a domestic dispute, but we still don't know exactly who that person is because police are still keeping that name redacted in all the police reports. We went to the Moab Police Department, where Assistant Chief Braden Palmer agreed to talk with us. The first thing he wanted to do is send his condolences to the Petito family.
I really want this family to understand where our hearts are right now. It's been emotionally trying on us, right? We don't deal with this every day.
Moab is a small town, and this is a small police department that's been under the microscope of the world since the body cam video of the August 12th incident was released.
When you're singled out, you're the officer surrounding the national attention. I think it's safe to say those officers are struggling right now.
Did the officers miss domestic violence warning signs that could have saved Gabby? An outside agency is now investigating and is expected to release their findings soon. Assistant Chief Palmer says at least one of the officers involved wanted to talk to me, but because of the open investigation, he's not allowed.
I'm not going to sit here and say that we're not willing to take this incident and learn from it, because we are. We evaluate what we do every day, constantly. Been about right here is where our first officer's vehicle would have been.
Assistant Chief Palmer took us to the spot where they stopped Brian Laundrie. So this is where the traffic stop was?
Yeah, so this is where the traffic stop would have taken place. Kind of where our patrol vehicle is sitting right now is where the initial officer roughly would have been when he made the traffic stop, with the van out in front, and then our second officer, when he arrives, pulls up alongside the curb behind us.
In the end, the officers decided not to make an arrest and instead separate Brian and Gabby for the night.
Yeah, good night, okay?
Brian ended up here, just down the street, at the Bowen Motel. The clerk told me the person who checked Brian in no longer works at the motel, and the owner says they don't have surveillance video of Brian arriving. It was a similar story at the co-op and this coffee shop where Brian spent time in Moab. Workers did not want to talk or give surveillance video. Besides the body cam video, police say they have not obtained any video of the couple in Moab. After leaving Moab, Brian and Gabby would head north on Highway 191. That's where we are right now. The scenery is absolutely breathtaking. It's beautiful out here. They eventually made it to Salt Lake City. On August 17th, Brian flew home to Florida, leaving Gabby behind at this hotel near the Salt Lake City airport.
Hello. Good, how are you?
Good. I'm a reporter in Florida. The manager told me they were instructed not to say anything, and I got the same line at this restaurant next door. When Brian returned to Utah, he and Gabby continued north in the van, eventually making it to Jackson, Wyoming, and Mary Piglet's restaurant on August 27th.
Yeah, thank you. It wasn't what everybody said.
It wasn't.
Not at all.
The manager did not want to go on camera, but she had a lot to say. I took notes because I wanted to get it all right. She says everything that's been on the news about what happened here is made up. She says there was no loud voices, no one got angry, no one threw a fit here, but she says that Gabby and Brian did leave leave the restaurant without paying, and she says that the server followed them outside, that they paid the bill out here on the street, and that Brian was very calm, but then that they came back into the restaurant together, and that Gabby said that she wanted her money back, and the restaurant said that we're not going to give you your money back, and that then Gabby and Brian left. I asked about surveillance video, and she said that they did have video, but they didn't know it was significant at the time, and that it's since been deleted. Mary Piglett's was the last place Gabby was seen alive. Her van later found down this dirt road in the Spread Creek camping area near Grand Teton National Park. It was first spotted by the Bethune family of bloggers on their dash cam. So we're using the Bethune family bloggers video to try and find the exact spot where the van was. In their video, it looks like it's right here up on the other side of this tree. So this is where Gabby's van was parked, right here on the side of this dirt road. And the body was discovered back this way. It's a bit of a trek back to the site, through several different creeks, back behind the tree line. With only the sound of the rushing water, we found the place. So this is the spot where Gabby's body was discovered, right here in between these trees. You can see there's this stone cross. This is the cross that Gabby's stepdad created here when he visited the site where her body was found. Gabby's van was parked about 1,000 feet that way on the other side of all of those creeks. We saw orange spray paint left behind by investigators and messages left for Gabby. Such a sad ending to a beautiful, bright life. But at least there's some comfort knowing she was surrounded by the nature she loved. And it was certainly surreal being out there. It's such a remote area where Gabby's body was found. There are a number of different stone crosses now that have popped up right there along the road where the van is, right on the other side of that embankment. But it's really quite a ways back to the place where the body was, where Gabby's stepdad put that stone cross. Marnie? It is just chilling, Brian. It is heartbreaking to go back to that very place. I know her family went back there as well. Along this journey that you took, retracing their steps, did anything stand out to you as you made all of those stops in terms of the trip they made, something that you learned that we didn't already know? Well, a couple of things stood out to me, especially in Moab. How many people just did not want to talk about the situation or about Gabby Petito. They were obviously alarmed by what happened in their town. It's a very small town. They don't normally see incidents like this. I think there was also concern there about the image of the town now. You know, Moab is sort of on the map now for a different reason related to this entire situation. So I was surprised how many people, stores that we would go in, places where we would try to find surveillance video where people were just flat out basically like, we're not talking about it, you know, can you please leave? That was the first thing. The second thing that surprised me was when we went to the spot where Gabby's body was found. When I heard 1,000 feet from the van, I sort of thought it was just going to be in a field right there, but it was really quite a ways from the van, and you had to walk through several creeks, which I didn't realize just how involved it was, which obviously made me think back to what happened and when she was taken there, and then it was quite a journey from where that van was parked. And the tragic end. Brian, thank you. We'll see you shortly. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.